Oh, don't do this to me. Mm. 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. Yeah, baby. 20. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hopefully people are joining in as we speak. Apologies for the, oh, wow, I'm way off. Try down. There we go. Welcome to my messy lair. Hello, everybody. Whilst I've done a live stream, look at the camera here. Hello, everybody. Apologize for just the timing issue. I have a new. I keep having. I set up a new computer. So hopefully I'll have better Wi-Fi connection this time. And it's first time I've really been using it, and the time was off on the PC. And I saw that, and I said, oh, I really need to change the time, and got busy with other stuff, and never got around to it. And when I set up schedule for this live stream, it used the computer's time, which was off by a couple of hours. So I said, hey, we're going to set it up. And I said, hey, 9:30. And I didn't realize it, but YouTube said, oh, 11:30. So no, crap. Somebody let me know when I told them, hey, I'm going to be going live in half an hour. And they're saying, wait, your schedule says like 2 hours from now. So don't, and it's funny because my job, I work with computer systems. I worked with computers for decades, and I can't set the freaking time on the computer. So hopefully I'm coming in okay. Let me know if the stream has any issues, breaks up or anything like that. Or just, hopefully the stream should be at least significantly better this time. This is plan A. I do have plan B in case this isn't. So hopefully this will work. But so, hey, as everybody, let some people join in. I see a bunch of people have already come in. Please, feel free to say hello to chat, ask me any questions. I see Matt. Hey, Matt. VQ's online. Thomas. Gilberto. And Raymond. Hey, guys. People I know. Michael. Hey, Michael. Welcome. Let me take a swig of this real quick. Sorry I haven't done a live show in a while. My workshop has very poor insulation, and even though it has an air conditioner in it, it barely works. So it's just been too brutal here in Houston to really do much outside of really weird hours. So even today, it's still going to be pretty warm, but at least in the morning, it should be too bad. So welcome to my Sunday service. Apologies. I wanted to do it yesterday, but it just didn't work out. I had too many things I had to work on, clear up, and do things. One of them was to get this computer working and some other stuff. So thanks for everybody for joining me. And if you missed the beginning, I hit a milestone, 20,000 subscribers on my channel. That's amazing. That's really good. I know it's small fries compared to like PewDiePie or whatever, who's got 20 million or something like that. He blinks his eye twice and he gets 1 million subscribers. But I don't do this for subscribers or for fame and fortune. I do this because I really like model airplanes a lot, and people seem to like my videos of me liking model airplanes a lot. So if you're happy, I'm happy, and that's all that really matters. So thanks you very much. It's funny because I hit like 1990 something and kind of went up and down and then finally crossed 20 and then stayed there. So I think it's stable now unless I do something really weird and lose a bunch of subscribers. There's a moth flying around. Where did that moth come from? So I thought I'd just kind of have a nice, just unofficial 20,000 celebration, and I got some new toys and some stuff I like to show off and see what people think. And I had a few people ask me some questions, so maybe I'll try to address those as well today. So I have no idea how long I'll be going on, but hey, that's why it's a nice lazy Sunday for people who are not out there flying models and that kind of stuff. Hope you got your flying in yesterday. Let's see, the chat. Hey guys, Mary Boozer. Hey, can see you. Raymond. Yes, I saw the video of him. He's got his new building at the 8-Bit Guy. This is a little side thing. If you don't know who the 8-Bit Guy is, he's a real popular YouTuber. He just reached 1 million subscribers himself. His name is David. What's his last name? Murray. David Murray. He specializes in what do you call those, retro computers, 8-bit. Hence the name 8-Bit Guy. And I've actually been on his show. I visited him a couple times, and we're real friendly with each other. And really neat guy, super smart. And he loves Commodore 64. And I'm a big Commodore 64 guy. I have a couple of Commodore 64s and some other Commodore computers. And so it was a real treat to be able to meet him and actually be invited on his show because I built something that he really liked. So if you're interested in my appearance on the 8-Bit Guy's channel, look up, I think it's the K9 episode. I think it's called K9, K-9. So he's had posted a video of building a new workshop in his backyard. And the reason why I'm kind of going off on a tangent, because that really triggered some bells with me, because I would love to do the exact same thing he's doing. And that is building a workshop in his backyard, in my backyard as well. A nice one that's it's purpose built for your hobby. He's got climate control and good insulation and electricity and stuff like that. So that's what Flycam DFW was mentioning. And so I just kind of going off on a tangent. But anyway, I'm going to hear about model airplanes. And where do I start? I don't know. So you saw in the splash, I got a box behind me, and it's a big box. And it's got something really neat in it. So I thought I'd show off what's in there and show off a few other things I got. Before I get to that, a couple quick little things. By little, I mean something like this. A friend of mine came over yesterday, and I did some work for him and helped him out with something, and he gave me one of these. This is a Gillows. One of those stick and tissue rubber band powered planes. And not only gave me this one, but he also gave me this one too. Now, he didn't build them. He got them from somebody else, but he thought I'd like them. And I do. They're really neat. I don't know who built them personally, but I always like little Gillows. This is really how I pretty much started in the hobby. Technically, I started with, well, you go way back. That I can think of, different types. And I went into a little bit of control line, the old Cox stuff. But the real thing that just really stuck with me, that really got me hardcore into the hobby, was these Gillows balsa wood models. And I did it about roughly middle school, if I remember correctly. Yes. I would take whatever money I earned mowing lawns and whatnot, or squirreling away lunch money. I actually did that. I got in trouble for that. My parents would give me lunch money and said, okay, here's your lunch money allocation for the week or for the day. And I would skip lunch and not eat lunch so I could save the money so I could buy model airplane stuff. And I bought some model planes, those were trains. And when my parents found out about that, they were not happy. I was happy, but they were not. So that's a little funny story. But anyways, I built a lot of these kind of stuff like this as a kid. I've talked about this before and some of the other stuff shows and interviews I've been on. And they weren't very good. They weren't nearly as nice. Basically, I built the frame with tube wood glue, that is. And the tissue I put on also with tube wood glue, and I didn't put any type of doping on the tissue. It was just really basic, and they kind of flew, but mostly didn't. But they flew well enough for me to have entertainment on them. But they were really not the best building. So I've actually been meaning to build another one as an adult, do it the right way with real tissue and dope. In fact, I picked up some real dope is really hard to get, and it smells terrible. But they have new, I guess, acrylic dope, I guess you can call it, water-based dope that I'm really interested to try out. So I bought a bottle of it to try on some. I actually have some free flight planes. I got a couple of Gillows, but I also have some other brands. I have a really neat one I picked up at a free flight event a couple of years ago that I want to build. So these, I don't think think these are really meant to winding up, right? So there is a rubber motor in here, as you can see. But the plane has been hand painted. I don't know if you really can see, but there's brush strokes on it. And I actually did try to test glide it yesterday, and the CG is way, way off. So, and there's some rubbing of the spinner. This one actually might be able to get working pretty quickly. The Spitfire has a lot more, the prop doesn't even barely turn, although there's a motor in it. There's a rubber motor. So I could probably stick maybe some spacers. I can get them either one probably functional, but they're probably not going to fly all that great. I think they're a little bit heavy, and I'm going to have to add more weight to get the CG right. So, but I did, all is not lost. Nonetheless, they'll make great little desk models or something I can hang up in a room or something like that, and maybe get me excited or motivated to build some of my own. But still, I appreciate a friend of mine for giving me these, and I really like this one. If you can't tell, there's actual antenna wires running from the wingtips to the tail, so there's some nice detail on it. So I actually had briefly thought about making them RC, but that would be really invasive to get them to do that. So I'll just keep them as free flight and muck around with them. So anyways, thought I'd show that off and put them somewhere. So if you never built the Gills models, you should try one. They have a bunch of laser kit versions now, which are much nicer than the die crushed models that some of the older ones have. Not all of them are laser cut, but the newer ones, I definitely give them a laser cut. They're not known for being the lightest out of the box anyways, but just for the experience. If you don't know, they're all built up. There's ribs and stringers. There's really no sheeting, a few plastic pieces. And they do come with a rubber motor and prop if you want to play with that. They do a lot of RC conversions. Are very popular. I've done several. Not this small, but I've done the larger ones that were 049. So I stick an 049 engine in them, put a 2-channel radio, and they actually flew okay. They flew pretty good. I had a Zero and a Spitfire, and they both flew really well. Both eventually met their demise. I basically wore them out. They get the fuel soaked and that kind of stuff, and they just basically just disintegrated after a while. But I had a lot of fun with them, and I plan to do another one. In fact, I have a Spitfire, and I have a 190. So anyways, thanks everybody for joining in the 20K celebration. And yeah, this is VQ Warbirds. Huh? VQ, check your mail. That's great. You got some. So without any further ado, let's get to the show. So I've got a new model that I will be reviewing, and it just came in, and it's probably bigger on the tail than it's on this wing. So this is a big plane. So, oh man, did I lose the video? Shielding. Let me know if the video comes back. I just saw it at the video. It's back. Okay. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is still not quite perfect, so there's going to be occasional. I tested it yesterday, and there's going to be occasional dropouts, but they've always been very quick. I haven't seen any large dropouts, but there's going to be some occasional hiccups. Don't panic. Keep your towel. Stay with me. It's much better than it was last time. So anyways, anybody make a guess what this is yet? There's a decal sheet. No. And what I thought was really nice is here is one of the wings. Now, this is the first time I'm really taking this thing out. I've actually just opened the box up and looked in and said, hey, there's an airplane in there. Make sure it wasn't a box of rocks. But anyways, people are very hot. There you are, guys. You guys are good. You guys are very good. I'll give you a hint. Yes, it is a cub. Very good. And you guys give away half a cookie. Any idea what kind of cub? So, the wings come prepackaged and like their own little wing bags out of the box. Look at that. Yeah, it's nice because it looks like radiant barrier kind of stuff. And let me move the camera over a little more. There we go. Apologies for my messy workshop, but there we go. So I'm going to take the wing out of this. Very nice. It's got some Velcro strap. There we go. I got you move a little closer here. Radioactive shielding. Yes. Actually, this is, the more I think about it, this is actually really good because it is a radiant barrier, right? So whatever wings you have in here will stay cooler, especially in the sunlight, and prevent the covering from sagging and that kind of stuff. Because I've actually been experimenting with radio cooling for insulation in my workshop, and it blocks the UV light, which blocks a lot of heat. So it's really good to have it like this instead of like a really dark color or something like that. So here is the wing. I am looking at this wing for the first time. Let's get this thing over here. This is my very first time looking at this wing. This is just like you guys. Very nice. It's got iron-on covering. It's got a little black demarcation line. I don't see any sags in the covering. It looks like it's pre-hinged. I want to take some of this tape off here. And I'm going to tape. Make sure I don't do anything weird. So, wow. So a couple of things is, it looks like they're glued in. So you see I presume this is the aileron here. It's got a recessed hinge. See that, how it's recessed there? It's really nice. With slots. So that is really nice aerodynamically speaking. And it's already done for you. It doesn't look like I'll have to do any gluing. I'm pulling on it. And as far as I can tell, it's not moving. So, of course, I double-checked the manual, but I just thought I would be out of curious. And, oh, look at this. All right. And then we have the other side, looks like the flap. And, wow, look at that. It's almost like a, not quite a Fowler-ish. That's really nice. So they've already got this mounted too and bolted up. What's nice is there's bolts with lock nuts on it. So you can actually pull the screws off and pull off the flaps if you need to. Look at that. That is really nice. I like that. This is good. Nice offset hinge, but very nice aerodynamically as well. Looks like some nice woodwork in there. Lots of glue, which is good too. So it looks like they didn't skimp on the glue. It is a flat bottom airfoil. So this plane, I'll reveal what it is in a second, but it is optimized for really STOL type operations, short takeoff and landing, and slow flying. My greasy fingerprints are all over it now. So this is, yeah, you're right. Somebody mentioned it's a big plane. This is a lot of wingspan. This is here's it touching the floor, so it comes up pretty high, just as one wing. So that is nice. And I see a screw mount. So there's looks like for mounting on the plane, you slide it in and screw it down from the outside. Spar, and then the pin. So some pull tabs right here. I don't know if you can see it. Pull tabs for the pulling the aileron servos, leads out and stuff. All right, so people are you win the cookie. It is a shock cub. This just came out. This is the Seagull Models 102-inch shock cub. Oops, I'm getting the camera here. This is big. This will be the biggest powered plane I will have ever built. Monster. I'm really hoping it fits in my car. It should. I don't think there's a problem, but there's probably not going to be a whole lot of space left over. So this is what do they have here? Here's some stats. If you're looking for some stats there. If it focuses, I'm not quite sure. So it's a big mother. The cord, this is, here is, I gotta misplace my tape measure. Oh, I think I know where it is. The cord itself is right at, well, almost 18 inches. It just stops moving on me. Stop that. About 17 and a half inches cord, roughly, 17 3/4. I can barely see it, about 17 and a half. So this is a big mother. So yeah, the shock. I really didn't know much about a shock cub. I looked it up. Apparently it's made in Italy, if I remember correctly. And it's based on a Piper Cub, but with some important differences. And let's see if I can find them. So we got the other wing here. I pulled a decal sheet. I guess I can show it now. So you got a big honking set of decals for it as well. The other wing, I'll set aside somewhere. Set that over here. Let's see. So there's the box has, here we go, two. You can see a piece of let's see. Oh, wow, there's a bunch of goodies in here. What do I show first? Well, I showed the wings, so I guess it's only fair that I show the fuselage, right? Is that only fair? Here, let me move the wings somewhere else. Or at least put the protective covering over them. Get in there. So, yeah, it's a big mother. There is a fuselage. I'll take it out of the bag. Which way is back? Looks like the tail comes out first. Oh, yes. I'll have to say, I like the colors. Sort of a bumblebee thing going on, but it should be easy to see, yet kind of snazzy. So I do understand other color options may be available in the future. Oh, here we go. That's why it's not coming off. There we go. Now, I don't normally do unboxing videos like this. It's the first time, especially live. I've never done one live. So I'm making this up as I go along. Kind of like Indiana Jones when he was in the first movie, when he was trying to hunt down the Nazis to get the Ark. She asked, "What are you going to do now?" And Indiana Jones says, "I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along." All right. So, wow, look at that. Well, that's snazzy. Okay, so quick thoughts. Again, very good covering. I don't see really any sags. Looks like they got a good finish underneath. Some nice multicolored decals. It's actually black and silver. So black with silver trim or silver shading. Note that the interior has been painted, which is actually really interesting. It's all black inside, and this is painted. So it actually, they took some time to go in and not give you that natural wood look. So that's really nice. There's some foam sticking here. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. So the little tabs for the wings. I saw the slots in the wings for these tabs. So the wings will slide in, and a screw will go through this tab and lock it in position. So you don't have to try to access the screws from inside the aircraft. You can just go right down straight, and it should be easy to go in. I presume there's a cover or window that goes over here. I saw a window for there. Looking at, make sure I don't hit anything here. The back, they've already cut the slots out for the control surfaces and for the horizontal stab. So yeah, look at the chat here. Yes, this is like Christmas. This is very much like Christmas, man. Christmas for adults. So let's take a look back here. Also note that it is pre-slotted for the hinges too as well. So it looks like you've got a pretty highly fabricated plane coming right out of the box. I don't know if you can see, but there is a control panel. Can you quite? There it is. Right there. There we go. There's a control panel decal in there as well. Who's you got in there? Wow. For a Cub's got a pretty sophisticated control panel. Looks like a nice multifunction display and a couple of steam gauges. Yeah. So there's another thing. I don't know if you noticed it. I noticed it right off the bat. I thought I'd leave it for last here. I'm going to have to take the tape off to show you. You probably have already guessed it, but let's see. I should have taken it the other way. Hold on. Come on. I'll take the tape off. I'm going to stick it on like, I don't know. We'll have to see how the real one does. Oh, probably like this. In there. Huh? Come on, there we go. It has a door that's still stuck on. There we go. Obviously, there's some finishing work need to be done on a door, but there is a door. Look at that. And there's magnets here and on the door. You see them right there. And on the other side. And there's a handle as well. And do it that way. See the door handle? So what I was trying to do is, I presume, yeah, it looks like it does, that it hinges at the top, like the classic Cub. And then when you pop the thing off, it just lifts up like that. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. But the tape wasn't, I didn't hold the tape on. So kind of like the old classic Cub, the door hinges up. This door looks quite a bit bigger than the original Cub. So for understand, this is a Cub-based design. It's actually all new design made by the company out of, I think, Italy, if I remember correctly, or at least in part, to have Cub-like plane, but extra stall capabilities. And I'll get to that in a second because there's some other neat stuff that they do. Yes. Yep. The door's locked. It's not going anywhere. It's actually pretty strong. You can almost lift up the fuselage once it's locked in place. Look at that. So, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Oh, a little bit of trivia. I understand. I was told on the original Cubs, the Piper PA, whatever it was, Piper Cub from the 30s, that this door acts as a stall indicator, so that if you leave the door kind of unlocked, that you know you're about to stall when the door kind of just pops up like this. So that's what I was told. It actually has that sort of side effect. So I thought that was neat. Don't know if that's true on anything else, but so, oh yeah, and there's the business end. Business end. Here we go. Understand, this is good for both gas engines and electric. So I took a quick look through the manual, and they show both setups for gas and electric. It's actually not bare wood. It's actually epoxy coated, fuel proofed already. I don't know if you can see the reflection. I'll try to get the light just right, maybe. There you go, kind of. So they've already fuel-proofed the firewall, and there's some nice. I want to go take a look. If you can do this. There, I'm going to do this. You go inside. There we go. So you got slots for 3 servos. I presume it's probably 2 servos for the elevator, 1 for a rudder. And there's another 2 slots in the front. Let me do it this way. So there's the, excuse me for the shaky cam. Things are backwards here. I'm trying to get it right. All right, so there is, where did I get? There we go. The control panel. And you look down and I think I could operate a camera. There we go. 2 more servo slots, one for throttle and presume one for choke. With gas engines, I like to have a servo for the choke. So I have a choke, a remote choke, and a cutoff. So, all right, let's go take a look at a few other things, see what else we have. I'll put this right here. Well, I guess I should look down if you're curious. There's down the tail. So it looks like some nice, I think these are plywood. Yeah. Plywood formers and some stringers. Not a whole lot. It's some lightning holes. Nice clean design, but not overbuilt. So tail should be nice to get it balanced and that kind of stuff. There's some, you can see the tubes for the control lines. All right, and let's see what else we have here. Don't want to bore you too much. Here's the canopy, cowl. It's a nice big cowl. Stick that right on the front there. And there's a couple more things I'll look at, and I'll get too much. Don't know if it's thinking or not, but it comes with a hat. Look at that. 1998 Seagull models. Looks like you get a complimentary hat with the kit. Yeah, all right, so I'm going to put the fuselage back in because there's a couple things I want to pull out. See some holes on the bottom for the landing gear? In fact, let's go take a look at the landing gear. Look in there. Come on, get in there. I don't care what you smell. Yeah. So things are pretty well packed in here. Oh, here we go. Let's try this. Anybody guess what these are? Anybody guess? Let me pull one out. We got approximately 30 seconds to guess what these are. I open the bag. Skis. Somebody said skis. That's probably not a bad guess. Wow. Wow. Look at that. Oh, fiberglass? Well, I do declare these look to be composite. Yes. Angry Aardvark got the question correct. You got it. These are leading edge slats. I mentioned before that this is a STOL type aircraft, STOL, short takeoff and landing. And so one of the big design changes with the Chuck Cub is they designed it to have leading edge slats. So these go on the front and they help divert airflow over the wing. I'll get it over here at high angles of attack. Oh, there's little slots here in leading edge already. I missed them the first time. There's a little tiny slot right there. You can see it. And they go across the wing. There's another one right here. And so presumably, I'm not sure if I grabbed the right slot or not, but we'll see. Presumably, they sort of either go in or connected to some sort of another device. Probably another, yeah. So there we go. So anyways, now these apparently are free floating slats. So I'm not sure if they're spring tension or not. So they're supposedly free to rotate as the air. Okay, so Legend Hobby says I need to add the pivot hinge. Okay, that's probably in there somewhere. That's what I thought, because these slots are too small for these things here, which makes sense. So this is a device that's been around for a very long time. The Fleischer Storch has it. NASA's done a lot of experimentation with these type of stuff. And what happens is at a high angle of attack, you can the air can depart the top surface of the wing. So this helps maintain, I think they call it laminar airflow over the top of the wing, a high-nose attack, prevent the wing from stalling. So not only is it designed, it has flaps for slow flying, but basically they're leading edge flaps almost, or not quite flaps, they're slats. And you see these on airliners too. And so they really help the plane land at low speeds. I've had one of my other planes, the Turbo Timber, has these as well as optional. And I played around with them a little bit, and they were kind of neat. I was able to basically stall the plane all the way down to the ground and land it under no power with the slats. So they are effective. I imagine are even more effective on a larger scale aircraft because the aerodynamics are bigger on larger models than our smaller models. So this is something I'm really, really interested in experimenting with. Far as I know, they are free floating. So that is very interesting. I didn't even know they had free floating slats like that. And I was wondering, how does that even work? I've sort of free floating leading edge extensions, like the mesh. If you look up the ME-109 or the A4 aircraft, they have aerodynamically actuated leading edge slats that kind of slide out from the leading edge of the wing, and they're held in by air pressure. And then when there's no air pressure, they're supposed to slide back out and help it stall. But these don't slide out; they actually pivot. Which I thought, well, how does that even work? But I think when I think about it, the air will hold them down in free flight, regular forward flight. As you slow down and you get to the stall, say if you're normal flying, they'll be held down by air forces. But as you come down like this, the air will probably force them up a little bit. And that's my theory, and I'm sticking with it. So look up the Shock Cub. This will be sold by Legend Hobbies here in Texas, and I'll put a link in the description as well. And if somebody may already have a link, they can put it in the chat. So this is a brand new plane I'm going to be doing later today after I finish talking to you guys. So I'm really, really excited. I really like what I see so far. This is fascinating. Sometimes you think, it's a Cub. Yeah, Cub, high wing, putt. But I think this one really has some character to it. And I'm really going to have fun experimenting with its flight envelope. I think I got one last thing here to talk about with the Shock Cub. And I'm very curious about this as well. Put this over here. By the way, how's the link? Has it been a little more stable this time? I don't think anybody's complaining about me dropping off again. Anyways, so I want to take a peek at the landing gear. But there are some stuff. There's a fuel tank comes in there for gas engines. Oh, it's really nice. Is that metal fittings? Yeah, it looks like metal fittings. Wow. So there's the fuel tank from ZY Hobby. So we'll set up for gas. Seats. There's some seats you can put in there for your G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip, or Barbie, or both. I got the normal stuff, the windows. There's some Tundra tires. These are not too bad. The Thomas, the air filled. I see a refueling valve stem there. You can see that there. I think they 6-inch wheels. Can't remember. That's why I have this. Just under, right around 6 inches. Just under 6, 5 3/4. Taking out a ruler to them. And there's landing gear. Oh, it's all wrapped up. Probably not going to go too much in the landing gear. Well, there's actually more stuff in here I thought. Let's see. We got the windows, of course. A spinner. Oh, that's nice. Give you a spinner. Yeah, that's snazzy. That's not something you normally see. A whole bunch of screws and standoffs for the motor mount, looks like. And usually looks like some cable. Is it pull? might be pull on the. That's what it looks like. It does. The tail surfaces. Really stout tail wheel setup. Look at this. It is spring tail wheel. I don't know if you can see it in the bag there. There's actually like a leaf spring and completely CNC machined tail wheel assembly that rotates on a bearing. It looks like there's a bearing in there, a couple bearings. Wow, that's really nice, and a nice tail wheel. Wow, this is a really nice tail. I'm sorry, it's in the plastic. This is a really nice tail wheel setup. I like this a lot. That is heavy duty, very scale like. Oh, okay, maybe that's where the pull comes in. I see there's two arms here. So this whole piece here is metal with a screw. CNC here. There is, I see a what do you call those? Thrust washer bearing here, and I think another bearing is. It's hard to see in the plastic, and you can see that quite well. There's 3 metal bars here that are bent to act as a spring. Very nice. Yes, John, a very nice touch, I think. Oh yeah, there's some springs. Here we go for the tail wheel as well. Some springs so that you don't strip out your servo. There's 2 springs and some arms. Really nice. Well, let me take it out of the bag. I shouldn't do that. I'm going to take it out of the bag anyway, so. Yeah, cut it open. There we go. Sorry about that. So, sorry the camera's not focusing all that well. There we go. So, this is all aluminum. Looks like a machine aluminum here. Looks like also machined, maybe cast and machined. This is all metal. It's not a plastic bit at all in this piece. Oh, some washers. Yeah, sorry this camera doesn't seem to want to focus very well. Yeah, turn all the way around. Yeah, it's wheels. There's landing gear. I'll talk about landing gear. I think it's the last piece. All right, so I understand it has shock absorbing landing gear. I don't know where all the pieces are. I'll take a quick look at the landing gear. We come this far, might as well keep going. Wow, this is welded. So we've got, and it's not aluminum. I don't think it's aluminum. Feels a little stout to be aluminum. So I'm thinking this is some sort of lightweight steel or something. Maybe Thomas and Hobby can clarify. But well, yeah, because it's welded. It's very hard to weld aluminum. So you can see that it's actually welded pieces together along with the wheel shaft and a little U-joint. It's it's screwed in. So I think you're going to break the plane before you break this landing gear. That's really nice. It's got some substantial to it. So this is a really, really nice kit. I think a lot of thought and detail went into building it so far from what I see. We'll see how it goes together. This is just taking it out of the box and fondling it. It's like a center piece. Yeah. Yep, more metal bits. It's something. This is a pivot point. Imagine this connects to the fuselage somehow. And I see there's 2 screw holes for this. They're going to go in. What was in there? There you go. And so you can pivot. So there's part of the articulated landing gear. Sorry, let me get here. Like that. It's very nice. More welded pieces of metal. Well, these look like solid bars on it. And wow. So here's the other piece, the other side. And I think that is it for the most part. There's a couple of random bits of stuff. Well, there's more stuff. Oh yeah, there's the struts. Looks like there's a motor box if you decide to go electric. I believe that's what this is. So it's got some pieces. And it looks like a battery box, battery tray as well. So I saw the manual. It talks about electric motor, nice big, 50cc class, 30 to 50cc class electric motor. And I have a couple planes with that size motors as well. Usually I run them off of 8 to 12 cells roughly, depending on the type of plane. This one you could probably get away with 8 cells, I would think. Well, yeah, it depends. So that's nice. So if you want to go electric, there you go. I think this will make it also a great electric airplane. So then we got the windows and all the struts. There we go. So we got it's like perhaps more landing gear pieces. And the wing tube, the struts. There's a bunch of struts, 2 struts on each side. Some more part of the. Let me take a look at this. Looks like more landing gear parts as well. Yeah. All right. I keep discovering stuff in the box. Just when I thought I was done. So I noticed, does this work? This looks like part of the landing gear strut. And it is telescoping. It's spring loaded. There's a screw and a slot. And so you can. So there's your spring loaded landing gear. There we go. So imagine we put some holes for the screws. We put it all together and you got a bouncy bounce. You can absorb those terrible landings that we all do every once in a while. Yeah. All right. So that is the Seagull model shock cub, 102 inches of goodness, looks like. And taking everything apart here. Well, we can make it a little bit better. So, should be better organized. I need to find a box. Oh, stuff. I got one more thing related to the shock cub I'll show you. Let me just pack things up here a little bit. And just get some stuff out of the way here. And we put the wing back. Put the Duina back in bowl. Back into the case here so I don't ding it up. My luck, I'll drop something on it. So let me put this back in here. Get back in there. All right. The tail again. The rudder's over here on the box, taped to the box. One last thing. So, got a big plane. I got to power it with something, right? So, I actually have an engine that I will show you real quick. So, I decided to go glow on this one because it has an opportunity to use a really neat glow engine. To give you a hint, there's one muffler. There's 2 mufflers. Ichini, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So, it is, if you haven't guessed, look at this baby. Dual banger. Let me open this up. I have not really looked at it. I opened the box just a little bit. But I haven't really taken it out of the plastic. So this is the first time I'm actually taking it out of the plastic to take a look at this. Oh, new engine smell. This is an RCGF 40cc twin. A twin. And I mentioned it's a twin. I've always wanted to try a gas twin. It is 20cc and they're very nice running engines. I'm very, very good with them. But the only thing is I noticed, especially with my first one, was these things vibrate a lot. It's normal for gas engines, they kind of vibrate. And it's coming from mostly electric stuff. And I started to sucker up. I'm like, wow. But everything's good. I just make sure everything's bolted down really well and thread locked. But a twin, I was told that these twins are actually really pretty smooth. So I'm really looking forward to testing this baby out. It's neat. little. It's hopefully it fits in the cowl well. It's I'm looking at 7.5 inches roughly wide. And actually, while I'm at it, there's a cowl right here somewhere. This is live on air. Let's check it out. See if I could fit some cowl real quick. So here is the cowl. Here is the engine. So we'll see. Look at that. Got space to spare, even considering the glow plug extensions. I think it will. There we go. I think it will probably fit more or less okay. Oh, that'll look nice too. The 2 cylinders sticking out of the cowl holes. Wow. It'll look cool, and looks like it'll fit pretty well. Yeah. So first fall down, but it probably trim the headers. That's still not bad, actually. Sorry about that. So yeah, I think that's a good fit without even having to trim the extensions. Yeah. Fiberglass cowl. Looks pretty nice. Nice finish on it. All shiny and sparkly. All cut out for you. So that was one thing I was really curious about, how well it fit in the cowl. It fits really well. There's a carburetor. Oh, that's a choke, sorry. There's the carburetor. So it's the same thing. There's the Hall effect pickup. You can see the cylinders as I turn it. There we go. So what's interesting is they fire at the same time, but in opposite directions. So I guess that's why. 4-bolt pattern. Normally, all the other ones I had to screw on lug. So I'm going to have to drill. I did get a prop. I went to the hobby store yesterday and picked up a 20-inch prop. I wanted to get a 19.2, but I didn't have a 19 in stock, but I got a 28. So I'm going to have to drill the holes. I believe I have a template somewhere in my toolbox there to drill the hole template. So they recommend a 19 or 20-inch prop. So that is what it will swing. That is really neat. Multi-cylinder. I have a fellow club member who's building a B25, if I remember correctly. He's going to have 2 of these in his B25. So that sounds just fantastic. That's another thing. I'm curious how this sounds. I really want to see how this sounds. All right, so that is the power setup. That is the shock cub. That is legendhobby.com. And there's some more specs on there, some pictures of it, the built model. And hopefully you'll have more in stock soon. Well, here's the ignition. So I hope you guys thought that was interesting. I'm sorry if that went a little long, but it's like one of those clown cars where you keep pulling stuff out. You're like, wait, there's more? So we'll put those stuff back in to break that, all that and that and that. So that will be working on that. Look for a video on that in a not too distant future. It's going to take me a little while to put those together, but I will have a video on my channel of construction and flight as well. And I've got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to put stuff back. And I think at some point you should be able to get the manual. It seems to be okay. Lots of pictures. Lots of pictures. Not a whole lot of text. So there's some text, of course, but so there's not a whole lot. So I wouldn't say this is a beginner plane, but it should be easy for somebody with not a whole lot of time to put together and the fly based on the type of plane it is. So this really should be anybody who's got intermediate to advanced flying skills should have no problem. So lots of stuff. So I look forward to that. I'll be working on this later today. Looks like the weather report is actually be a little cooler, slightly cooler. Instead of 800 degrees, it'll be 700 degrees today here in Houston. So it should be not too bad working in the shop. All right. So what else would I need to talk about? Let me go up to the chat before I go to the next thing. See if I missed anything. Feel free to ask any questions. I know I've been kind of picking at it. I'll go back a little bit. 40cc. Vibranium. Vibranium. Where have I heard vibranium from? Oh, Wakanda. That's right. The Avengers. Yes. Yeah. Okay. See, I see Legend Hobbies talking to some people. Good. Yeah. I really look forward to the twin turbo it. Oh yes. Brock says the turbocharged the Cub. The Turbo Cub. Depends on what you've been using it for. For fit, yes, it fits in the cobble nice, great. You know, the big chain that carried the engine around my neck, like Mr. T or something. Somebody's a decent person. I bet you guys like that. You can sweet build a maiden. Oh, I'm glad you like the stream. I've never done a unboxing stream, so I hope people are not trying to saw their arms off to escape. Poke sticks in her eyes. Choose a seat. I'm in a modified gas motorized bicycle. Wow, a gas bicycle? What the hell? Oh, hey, Joe, glad you could join. I saw your comment, and you said you wanted to join in. Thanks for joining in. Bicycle project sounds awesome. Straight beam, second piston replace. 95% of vibration. Yeah, well, you're paid to play. That's cool. A bicycle with a 40cc. That's awesome. I've ridden mopeds though with about roughly 40cc. Looks like I get to the end of the comments. Yep, John, we'll have a build video. I got my camera right here. Yeah, baby, camera. Gotta make sure the SD card is emptied. I did get another. This will have to go on a back burner for a little while. There we go. Put the wings back. Box. Put all this stuff back together. This is a big box and my table's tall, so it's going to be a pain. Here's the top of the box. It's got some nice, pretty pictures. There you go. The shot cup, if you want to see what it actually looks like. So that's really quite nice. Looks like a different paint scheme on that one. And the Bulldog. All right. Okay, so I know I had a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. I had a note. Some people had a couple of questions they wanted me to address. My website thingy, email thingy. That. All right, there we go. Pulling up some stuff. Let's see. Sunny thread would be awesome. You. It's I like the extra in the background. What extra? Oh, extra? What are you talking about? Okay. Joe, as far as I know, it's only a tail dragger. It's a Cub. I don't think I've ever seen a Cub with a nose gear. There's some similar planes. I think Pepper had one with a nose gear, but all right. Let's see. Beginner RC plane on the ceiling. That's a Fontana. I think that's what you're looking at. That is a very old Fontana I picked up at a. I picked it up. It needs some TLC. The landing gear got ripped off, and I've actually never flown it. It's hung it up there, but at some point I'll get it running. It's actually got servos and motor and stuff in it. It just needs me to bolt. Well, A, I got to find the landing gear because I put it somewhere, and then B, glue it back on and get it flying again. All right. So, yeah, what else? Oh, I guess real quick while I'm talking reviews, a couple other things. I've been working on the next 3D printed airplane. This is from Eclipson, and it's called the something. I forgot what it's called. I even had my coffee this morning, and I forgot what the name of it is. No, not the stream. Oh, I completely forgot what it's called. Well, that's okay. We'll find out later. So this is I've been experimenting with. Oh, I forgot to bring it down. A new filament called It is real lightweight, actually. It's almost half the weight of regular PLA. I can't believe I forgot the roll. I picked up the roll and I don't know what I did with it. Oh, no, maybe it's here. There it is. There it is. This is LWPLA. And I've already used most of the roll. What's interesting is it's some sort of foaming PLA filament so that you extrude it at half the rate that you normally would. And so the rolls are slightly smaller, but you really get, I think, 2.5 times the printable material out of it. So it's kind of weird. So you look at it and say, hey, wait, that's not a 2 kilogram or 1 kilogram roll. It's like 0.75 or something like that. So it's been really interesting stuff to work with. It's got its ups and downs. It's got, it's like everything. There's some caveats in using it, but it is actually very lightweight and it does seem to be pretty strong. And it actually has a really nice surface, really nice stuff. So this is something I kind of been working on, but I'm going to have to put it aside for some to get the work on the shock hub. But I did get a point where I put the wing together, the fuselage together. It's actually mostly together. I got to do some work on. I got to install all the electronics gear and stuff in it. Oh, did I lose the connection? No noise. So this is not yet on Eclipse's website. This is still technically kind of a prototype. I got an early look at the stuff, at the design. And so I've been putting it together, giving some feedback to the designer. It has flown. They did fly a prototype over in the company did. But this one is a little different than the other designs. It actually uses carbon tubes for some strengthening on it. It's got some nice hinges, carbon rod or metal rods for hinges. And some kind of a hidden hinge. So it's really nice. He does a nice job. I think he's still tweaking some things on it. So this is why it hasn't been released. He mentioned the C originally calculated. So, and I think he was still tweaking the landing gear design on it. But it is really nice. It's based off of a real aircraft. And for some reason, I forgot the name of it. But it's a real aircraft made in Europe, composite, really sleek looking thing. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update that I've been working on it and I've got mostly assembled. So now I just haven't had the chance to finish it up. So, but this filament seems to be really pretty nice. I was amazed how much weight saving it was. I actually measured it and it was pretty close. I think it was like 40%, 40-ish percent lighter than the regular PLA. So look for that, another video on that sometime in the near future as well. So the filament is somewhat elastic. I don't know. That's a good question. It does seem to be a little bit more elastic, a little bit more permeable than the PLA. So probably not quite as delicate. PLA is a little bit delicate, and it kind of it tends to break and crack easily. So it's not very shock absorbent. So this does seem a little better, though this does have, like I said, carbon spars in it. So carbon tubes as spars. So we'll see. But so far, I'm quite intrigued with it, and I don't see any major issues. And in the category of when it rains, it pours. This just came in yesterday. This is the e-flite A10. This is the new A10 they just came out with, the 64 millimeter. I like A10, so I was real happy when this came back in stock. And I'm not going to do any unboxing today, but this is also on the table for this. This was interesting because it uses a 6S battery pack. So everything I heard about it is it has gobs of power. This is like probably the most overpowered A10 you can get. So this is also going to be another video review I will do when I get a chance. I don't know if I want to bore you people with any. I'm not going to do an unboxing, but if anybody asks, I can take a quick peek in it. Might be curious about anything in particular. Excuse the noise. There we go. So I got a backlog. The good news is the weather should be getting much nicer, so I can spend more time in the shop without sweating myself into oblivion and dehydrating myself. Speaking of hydration. Yeah, Joseph, I have the Freewing A10, the big 80mm one, which is also great. I actually, funny, I've been working on a video for that too. That's kind of almost finished, but I needed to do some. Where is it? Where is it? Where did I put it? Ah, here we go. So you just reminded me. I have the Freewing A10, and the video you saw, it was naked. I didn't paint it. I didn't detail it. I didn't do anything because I wanted to paint it in a custom paint scheme. And so I've actually finished painting it in the custom paint scheme, just some minor detail, a bunch of stuff on Thingiverse that are the same scale as a Freewing A10. And so I've got a rocket launcher, and I've got one of the bombs, I forgot, AGM 65, I think. And I've been experimenting with some filler paint. This is a bad print, but I've been kind of just experimenting with filling the lines without doing a whole lot of work. So it's kind of delayed the A10 video because I've been 3D printing weapons and stuff for it that are really nice, and it's been taking me some time to get everything set up. So, but I did throw most of the video into the editor and went through it. So I did a good chunk of work already on it. So one of these days I get around to finishing that. Okay, so Shreyam. Yes, Shreyam, I'm from Texas. Hot as hell, Houston. Let's see. Brock. Oh, you got the P-51. Yes, P-51's hanging up over there. Still debating whether I should try to fly without the wingtips. Let's see. So I had a couple questions that popped up. How long have we been going? Okay, not too bad. Oh, looks like it disconnected. Okay. All right. Sorry, it looks like I got a little warning that the connection got a little wonky. I'm gonna wait a second, make sure it's stable. Am I still good? Video stream still good? Please let me know in the chat if you think there's an issue. Stop pushing the machine. I can't do anything about your connection, Joseph, but mine's wonky. It's a constant battle for me to try to get my connection better. So I'll keep working on it. It looks like this is probably the best it's been ever. So anyways, I lost my train of thought. What was I thinking? What was I going to talk about? Some people I was looking through the chat. I think that's done. Hey, Paul from Vancouver, British Columbia. Hey, the Canadians. Never been to that side of Canada. I've been a bunch of times over in Toronto and the western part of Canada. I've never been to the eastern part. I would like to. Okay, so somebody asked me a question that's come up a few times, and I mulled over how I would do it. First of all, I thought this would have been covered a lot on YouTube, so I didn't really give it much attention. And that is beginner arsenal. There's a lot of things. There's. Where do I start? There's a lot of information online about beginners airplane. Here I talked about my QT before, and this is technically a trainer. What denotes a good trainer? Maybe I just go to real high level, just the general thoughts on trainers, and the general rule of thumb for trainers has always been, for the most part, it may change a little bit nowadays with augmented control systems, but generally you want something with a high wing, right? The wing is above the fuselage. That gives you extra stability. You get both a pendulum effect, and with some dihedral, you get some aerodynamic stability. You want something, it doesn't really matter. A nose gear, something with a tricycle gear will be a little easier to handle on the ground, although some tail wheel planes actually fly just fine. Handle just fine on the ground. But generally speaking, trainers will have a nose gear, so that makes them more stable on the ground. You don't have to worry about the rudder so much. So that is, for the most part, what makes a good bottom airfoil is flat or nearly flat. So that means you can fly slow, because you don't want a trainer that flies fast. Flying fast gives you no time to react, no time to correct yourself. So there's lots of trainers out there. I've trained people on like apprentices, and there used to be something called a sensei. You go way back to like a PT20, PT40. There's all kinds of stuff like that. But they also have very common that they generally have large control surfaces, large stabilization surfaces, that is, high wing for foil. Not a lot of power. You don't want anything with a lot of power. So there's great things out there. And there's a lot to choose from. I always recommend the one I've seen to be the most common, the best, is the Apprentice. There's a couple different versions of it. I've trained people on Apprentices, and they fly great. They're durable. They've got the technology in them, so you don't over control. They can help you for ranked beginners. That is really a good way to start if it's available in your area, and they're very easy. It's made by Horizon. I have a another one would be their Timber series. I have a Turbo Timber, which would actually really make a really good trainer as well. It's a tail dragger, but it's so easy to fly so slow. You can put the slats on it. I would have no problem teaching somebody to fly on a Turbo Timber or any of the Timber series. So if you're on a budget, he mentions being on a budget, look used. Go to your local hobby shop, see if they have any used planes, or ask them for contacts in the local clubs. Sometimes people get rid of used planes there. Swap meets, try to find out, with the COVID thing going on, there hasn't been a whole lot of swap meets, but hopefully things will start settling down, and usually in the springtime. So I'm sure by the time we come next year on the springtime, there'll be a whole bunch of swap meets coming up. I imagine the swap meets will be really big because people haven't gone to them in quite a while. And you can usually find some really good deals for trainers and that kind of planes that have swap meets. So hang out, find out when the next one is. I think the AMA website, the Academy Model Aircraft, has calendars that tells about when the next different types of meetings come up, swap meets and whatnot. Head out there. If you're new, I would recommend simulator. Would be really helpful, and find somebody, a real person, to help you learn how to fly, because that helps the most. Having somebody to guide you set up on the aircraft and giving you some flight training. So I've trained people on really goofball planes before, and we've done pretty well. But having somebody who knows how to fly can guide you along with a trainer setup, or what do you call it? Connect the two transmitters together, buddy box. That's it. Hopefully it answered the question that you were asking about that. I know the person's probably not in the chat. So I'll think about doing a video maybe on training. Maybe. If I can come up with a good angle and a good story, I might do something like that. If people think that would be advantageous. I just didn't want to repeat something that may have been done many times over. But if you think it hasn't done in the way you liked, I can get a shot at it. And worst I can do is fail. I'm going to poke through the chat again. I have a cousin in the chat. I have no idea who it is. 92 days. Give me a clue. Give me a clue who you are. Hello from the UK. Just got from soaring. Man, you guys in Europe, you have such great slope soaring. We have some here in the States. I know California has some great slope soaring stuff, but if you've never been to Texas, it's flat. It's pretty much flat. There's some places that got a little bit of hills, but it's flat. So slope soaring is something that we only look in the magazines and dream about and watching the videos of. So I really envy you guys that you can go off to the White Cliffs of Dover or something like that and do some slope soaring. I see some really nice stuff. Jason likes the QT. Yeah, the QT video. The QT has a special place in my heart. And I actually flew this about a month or so ago. We had one of the clubs had a really neat event that only planes that were roughly 25 years and older could fly at, designs that is. So obviously this is not a 25-year-old plane. I built it recently, but the design is 40 years old or whatever. So it qualified. And so I was able to pull this back out and get it running, get the cobwebs out of it, and had a great time flying it. Let a couple other people fly it, and they all really liked it. And I mentioned this was a trainer plane, But with the controls cranked up, it's just such a fun plane to fly. It doesn't have any bad habits. It's actually aerobatic, but it's easy to fly. It's got a throttle on 049, so you can throttle back and kind of cruise around. I put a bigger tank in, scratch built, covered it, and so it's my little baby. There's a fly-in next month in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, called Small Steps, SMALL, Small Model Aircraft Lovers League. So it's an acronym. And they specialize in small aircraft, anything roughly 25 size, 0.25 cubic inch and smaller. And so there's usually a lot of 049 powered planes there, some control line, small powered engined aircraft of all various types, lots of small electrics, even some rockets, free flight, all kinds of stuff. It's a great event. It's a bit of a drive from here, but it's I can do it in a day pretty easily. So I'm probably going to go. I need to double check that. Probably going to get a hotel room. And so I'll bring this up and some other planes and have a good time with it. Bring up my 049s, make some noise, get all messy and goily and greasy, that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you liked the video. Another plane, I forgot what it's called. It's a little pusher plane that's supposed to be a really good trainer. And the nice thing about the pusher is that you can whack it into something and not hurt the motor, right? So I forgot what they called it. But it's Horizon Hobby sells it. And it's, they just came out with a small version of it too, which is real nice. All right. So Joseph has a good point. I always make with the safe system in the Horizon trainer planes like the Apprentice. Safe is great for rank beginners and really low time pilots. But when I do training, I always try to weed them off of the safe system progressively, because it can kind of get you into a bad habit of over controlling, and since it limits the bank angle. So what it does is if you try to roll the plane, it won't let you roll it past about 45 degrees and it'll stop. The gyros heading host system will say, no, you're banking too much, I'm not going to let you overbank and crash, and that's fine. But as you learn how to fly the plane, you get used to just jamming the stick and it just jams over to stop and fly around, and you can fly just fine. But you get into another plane that doesn't have the safe system, and you get used to just jamming the controls, and you're going to spin yourself into the ground. So I made it a habit of weaning my students off of the safe system as they progress in their training, so that they can progress to other types of aircraft, into aerobatic aircraft, and not get stuck in that rut. So it's a great system, but you got to have a little bit of, discipline with it, and weaning yourself off of it, and then you can go forth and do great things. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention. So if you do fly on safe system, experiment with turning it off or disabling it partially, and then experimenting and getting a feel for the aircraft. That will benefit you in the long run. But it's good to keep it on a switch. I had a case where I had a servo fail in one of my jets, and I was able to flip it to safe mode, and I was able to bring it back in. So it does have it's great for as a bailout button in case something happens. Or if you're doing aerobatic, you flim when you should flam, you get confused, flip on the safe mode, and it'll righten itself up. But so don't get rid of it completely, but it learn how to fly the plane, feel the plane, be the plane. That's it. Be the plane. Be the plane. All right. So I had somebody else asked me another question about something. I have a fondness for balsa. Yes, I did a lot of balsa planes and 3D printed. I just talked about that earlier. Do you ever work with foam or foam core? Yes, I work with foam. I have nothing against foam. I built some foam planes. Give me a second to remember a plane I built out of foam. I actually like foam in certain cases. I have a couple of projects that are partially done in foam that I'm thinking why. If I thought I would have pulled one down. What did I do with the thing? Speaking of foam, and so this is a hot wire cutter. So this allows me to cut pieces out of foam. It's kind of old and dusty. But what I did is I just made this out of almost duct tape and bubble gum. but I've had it for years and years. It works good. It's got a nichrome wire here, and a couple of eyelets, and you can see there's some wires that come up, and I go to a transformer here. It's all kind of wrapped up. So I got a little transformer. I know it's not exactly the most, I should have bolted the transformer to something. So this is not the Optimus Prime kind, but this is an actual step-down transformer. It takes 120 volts and steps it down to, I think, 24. Picked it up at Radio Shack many moons ago. I've got a light dimmer switch. This is one of those you get at the big box home improvement store for dimming lights in your house. And so I plug that up to the line voltage like that. So what this does is it allows me to vary the power, because it's a rheostat in there. So I can actually adjust the power to adjust the heat on the wire. And what I do is I literally cut wings out of foam. I'll use templates, and I'll just kind of run it over the foam and cut out a wing. So I've done that to several planes, which I'm having a hard time remembering if I had any that I've done that recently. Yes, I think this one. Yes. Excuse me a minute while I go pull one off the ceiling. This you'll like, if I can get to it. Fortunately, I'm not showing you the really messy part of the workshop. Oh, no, that isn't. Crud. Sorry, wrong plane. Stand by. I know I've done one. Well, while I'm looking, give you a... Okay, how about this? If I get the step ladder, what do I do with it? There it is. You're watching the least exciting live broadcast in the world. Well, I trip over everything. All right, so the reason I'm pulling this down is because you might find this actually pretty interesting. This is an old project I worked on many moons ago with a friend. And I'm going to pull it down. I don't think I've ever showed this to anybody. But I used my foam cutting machine quite a bit on this. I actually need to revisit this. All right. Back. Let's pull this down. It is this. There we go. Another cookie goes. Anybody can guess what this is? There we go. Yes, Lee, it's ugly. Right, let me look at the chat, see if anybody guess what it is. Probably not going to. Let's see. Ultrix. Aero Scout. Yeah, Hal, it's the Aero Scout. That's the trainer I was talking about with the pusher motor. Thank you. Very cool shop. Very messy shop. Seaplane. You're half right. It is designed to float. It is a seaplane, something Russia. You're kind of hot, Troy. When you talk about Russia, you are very hot. You're very, very hot. So to keep you guys from guessing, maybe one or two more guesses and then we'll go. Acroplane. Okay. John, I think you got it, although you misspelled it. A chronoplane, I think is what you're talking about, not an acroplane. But yes, this is something that was based on a theory of wing and ground effect. So it is a wing effect, a wing and ground effect aircraft. Let me stand over here. Me and another person, we wanted to experiment with wing and ground effect aircraft. And so we kind of came up with some rough calculations and decided, well, we want to build one. But obviously you can't buy a kit of a wing and ground effect plane. So I took my, we came up with design. I took my hot wire and I cut out the wings, just by going over the template. You cut out the wings out of foam and the fuselage. The fuselage is also hot wired. It's a pretty basic shape. So I hot wired it in sections, kind of squared off, and then I sanded it, and then I fiberglassed everything. So this is all fiberglass, by the way. It's kind of hard to see. I didn't paint it. We didn't want to waste time painting and making it pretty. It wasn't designed to look pretty, it was designed to test various air. So, but it took heavy use of my hot wire and foam cutting machine. It's all just based styrofoam. So I hollow it out the inside with a soldering iron or whatever. I got to find what I did with the covers. So it's got 2 motors, a couple of, this was done years and years and years ago. So I had some issues with the power setup, and my radio had some issues. Had a lot of interference problems with this plane. It up a little bit because I was using 72 megahertz, and it was glitching with the 2 motors and all this extra wiring. So it had limited success in trying to experiment with it. But it's got old. Actually, these motors are really good. These are the they were made in the Czech Republic. They were really popular for a while, the brushless motors. Mega motors, yeah, a couple of mega motors on there. Big tail, had rudder and all kinds of stuff. I took some of the servos out. So yeah, it's ugly, but we wanted to kind of just put some wheels on it on the ground, but we really wanted to put it in the water so we have more space to play with it. But this was a long time ago. One of these days, I'm going to pull it back out again and put some more modern gear in it, try it again. Should do much better. So, but yeah, this is a surface effect aircraft. So it's not an airplane. So the concept behind this is not to fly high in the sky like an airplane. It uses a phenomenon called ground effect. So with all aircraft, especially low wing aircraft, when you come down to land, it gets into what they call a ground effect. So when it's near the runway, it picks up extra lift. And so you have to slow down more in order to land. And so you can actually float for extended periods of time in the ground effect. Birds use this. If you watch, I think, seagulls and that kind of stuff, and you'll see how they'll come down and they can go for long distances over the water without flapping. They'll just hold their wings open and they'll just soar for unusually long periods of time. You think, well, they're not flapping, but they're really scooting along on the ground. And that's because you get a cushion of air underneath the wings that kind of develops, and it increases the lift coefficient of the wing. So what they do is, for the Russians discovered this, and so they built some really, really big. Look up Econoplane or Caspian Sea Monster, and you'll see these really huge airplane-looking things, but these really tiny, stubby wings. And so the wings are shortened so you don't get too much lift. But when you get up to speed, you get just enough lift to hover, not really hover, but fly maybe 10 feet above the water or something like that for the real ones. For the models, it'd be a few inches. And so we wanted to test that concept on a model. And some people have done it. You can look up videos on YouTube. Some people have done some nice little wing and ground effect type planes. But a friend of mine did aerodynamics design work, and he wanted to experiment with a couple of concepts he had in his brain. But this is the first thing I can think of that I use my hot wire for. I've done it for other things too, and so it's a great tool to have. You can make them really cheap. Look them up online for a hot wire cutting tool. Make your own wings. I've made wings for other aircraft that I wanted to scratch build that no longer are around anymore. I do like foam. Another thing to look up is if you go to Park Flyer Plastics, a friend of mine, Keith Sparks, I'm going to look it up real quick. He has a book on building out of foam, and The book is called Building with Foam. I'll throw a link up real quick. I have this book. I'd show it to you, but I don't know where I put it. I actually have 2 copies of this book, and I don't know where either copy is. There we go. It's a great book. He is a master builder, and he can build planes out of foam that look like they were complete composite. They certainly don't look like they're made out of foam. You look at it and you think, wow, that's the most beautiful carbon fiberglass model I've ever seen. You're like, oh, it's a foam model. It may be covered with fiberglass cloth, but it's a foam model, and it weighs a lot less than you would think. He's built a plane. He built a quarter scale P-40 once that was beautiful, and I told him it was too light. It was actually too light. So but it flew great, but it was so light that, if it was really windy, the thing would just basically stop in midair. And it's a quarter scale aircraft. It was big, 80 something inch wingspan or whatever. So, oh yes, in the chat, yes. If you go to the rcroundtable.com, the podcast that I do with the 2 of my buddies, we've had him on the show several times. He's a really interesting guy to talk to. He's an old friend of mine where I used to live up near him. And so I've known him for a long time. Great guy, extremely talented builder, always fun to be around. Really, one of the great things in his life is knowing and meeting people like him. So look up his book if you're really interested in building with foam. He goes through step by step and how to cut foam out, how to shape it, how to build templates, how to fiberglass it, all kinds of stuff. Some of it's actually low tech techniques. You don't need a whole lot of special equipment. So if you're interested in building with foam, look him up. So I'll put this over there. All right, so I don't know if I have much else to talk about today. I'll see if I missed anything. Now, somebody asked about the avian speed controllers and smart telemetry. Well, I have a whole video on that, so I wasn't sure what he meant about that. So look at the video and then maybe ask a more specific question. I did my last video you just saw. I just posted. I got a peek at the smart technology, and it was really interesting, and how everything communicates, especially the batteries. How the battery can data dump a whole bunch of detail. I need more detail than I ever thought they would be doing into devices such as the speed controllers and a charger. And I found out even the little battery checker. So take a look at that video if you're curious about how smart tech from Spectrum works. This is particular to the Spectrum company, but it sounds like they did a really neat job. It's really clever how they made it backward compatible with their older systems where they did the connector. So I thought that was really nice. But I really like the telemetry, and that I have actual battery telemetry, so I know when the batteries are getting low, and I can set up warnings, and I can see how much power the speed controller and prop setups are using real time, so I can experiment with prop sizes and batteries and stuff. So it's some really good stuff there. It'd be interesting to see what the future holds. Somebody posted a comment they're working on being able to do multiple batteries, because right now I think it's mainly one battery, but I think they have a controller. You can plug 2 batteries in and get telemetry from both batteries. If I remember correctly, I don't know the deal. And I just remembered, apparently some of the new avian controllers can reverse rotation on the fly. So you can do what they call reverse beta, or back up your aircraft as you land, and then, I don't know, hit a button or something. I need to look that up. I keep forgetting to do that. What do we have here? I want to check the chat real quick. Caps on the motor. No, these are brushless motors, so you can't put caps on them. That was for the interference issues I was having. It turned out my radio was going bad, and I didn't know it. So I had to eventually switch radios. This is, again, an old radio. All right, Brock. Have fun flying. Let's see, wing strut, post a lot of bills in RC groups. Oh, yeah. All right, you guys have anything in the last questions before I think I wrap things up? Unless I can think of something else to talk about. Surprisingly, it's actually coming up on lunchtime. I may have to go grab some grub and then start on the Shock Cub. I picked up, man, I went to the hobby store. Yeah, I need to get some stuff for the Shock Cub. So I picked up some, I need a bunch of extensions. With a big plane, I was like, I need some servo lead extensions. How long do I need? like 36 inch. Holy mother. So I had to pick up a couple of, I got some 24 inches and I got some 36 inches extensions. So I got a couple of 36. I got some Y connectors. I did get some plugs. I usually try to make my own. Maybe I should do a video. I usually make my own extensions a lot. So what I'll do is I'll buy wire in bulk like this, and then I'll buy a bulk of the connectors as well. The problem is I pretty much run out of connectors. I forgot to go order some bulk connectors. So I have like enough to make like 2 extensions. That was it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just bite the bullet and go to the hobby store. Support your local hobby shop, right? Support your local hobby shop and buy some pre-made extensions. They're quick and easy. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time making them this time. And man, these things add up. And like the long extension, $10 a piece, $5 a piece. So and I had to get the prop too. So it was like, yeah, I got a little bit of sticker shock, but it's okay. It's all good. So you get the little Max product stuff. So I've got that. I've got the I got servos somewhere. We got the servos. They're in the box. So yeah, they are. Good. I need to find them. Give me my servos. Give me what I need. So I got a box of servos. So on the shock cub, I'm going to be using all high voltage servos. So in this case, I have the Spectrum 6380s, and these are all rated up to 8 volts, 8.4 volts. So with my gas powered planes, I like to use one, like a 2-cell lithium pack. So the on the engine, the spark generator, the ignition module is rated up to, I think, 8.4 volts. The receiver is going to handle 8.4 volts. The servo will handle 8.4 volts. So everything is the same voltage. That removes any need for running extra batteries or extra regulators, that kind of stuff. So that helps remove failure modes in certain components. And so I got the servos. I've got the extensions. Let's see. So I got somebody listening from India. Wow. The crimping tool. Yeah, I can show you the crimping tool real quick. I'll just throw the stuff in here. So the crimping tool is right here in the drawer. This is the crimping tool right here. So it has 2 sizes of connector sizes. I think I usually use a small one. And so you put the connector in, and it's a ratcheting system. So it ratchets until it crimps, and then it lets go. So you can actually save quite a bit of money doing this. It takes time, especially when you first start. It's going to take a while. And I can do it fairly quick, but it does take a little bit of time to do a bunch of stuff. But it is a lot cheaper to do it this way. That's why I usually do it. But like I said, I was in kind of a rush. I didn't have a whole lot of time. And I ran out of material. So it was a combination of, okay, it's a double. I'll just go buy some. I forgot where I got this. This might have been from actually the HPI company, the MPI Max company. But you can look them up online. You can find crimping tools. Just look for servo lead crimping tool. Yeah, somebody mentioned a Hansen crimper. So look at Hansen. It's in the chat. So look it up. Now, it's a thing you got to be kind of meticulous and careful with. You don't want to wire up your own extensions and it don't work, or the reverse polarity or something like that. So be careful when you do it. All right. Well, I probably bothered you guys long enough. I hope you enjoyed this live chat. And I haven't done it in a while, so it's kind of cobwebs off and that kind of stuff. And you get to see my messy workshop and projects in progress. And I can't think of any last things before I go. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to say anything in the chat. Thanks again. I don't know if you missed the beginning. I hit 20,000 subscribers, and I think that's a pretty good milestone for my little humble channel. I really my gratitude to everybody who subscribed, all my watchers, people who watch the channel. I really appreciate it. this has been an interesting journey. Something I never set out to do, never thought I would do. I'm more of a lurker. I don't see myself as a very telegenic person, but people seem to like what I do, and I wouldn't be here without you. Really appreciate it. I remember when I first started and I hit 1,000, I was like, yeah, wow, 1,000 people. Wow, that's fantastic. That's amazing. So now I hit the 20K. So I don't think that's a great number by YouTube standards or anything like that. But for me, I think that's I'm very gracious for it, and I don't sneer at it at all. I think that's just amazing that 20,000 people would actually think my channel interesting enough to watch, and to not only watch but to actually subscribe and to say, hey, that's pretty neat. Let me know when you have more. Again, thanks everybody. Here's to 20,000 more. And take a swig, guy. And to whatever comes up in the future. I'll try to make more interesting videos best I can. But do things that are interesting to me. I've got a couple of things I haven't mentioned, some secret stuff and stuff that I hope to make some neat videos on. I hope you find interesting as well. I see a few people in the chat. Started following you after the 3D printed plane video where you used Kapton tape. Yes, yes. I still use Kapton tape. I found some more, although sometimes I use Kapton tape and glue sticks. But I also found that for some things I could use other stuff. So Andrew says, you take projects to completion and you fly. That attracts viewers. Well, thank you. Yeah, I do try to finish stuff. Sometimes I get delayed. Sometimes I get distracted by other stuff. But I always try to finish what so it's great that you guys hang in there. I know sometimes I may not have a video for a while. It doesn't mean I've stopped. It means, life gets in the way. But I still poke at the videos and tinker with stuff. And so put stuff in the timeline. I try to, I can't. I have a life and I have a job and I have other stuff. So sometimes I can't spit out videos. I've seen some channels, I won't name them, and they can produce videos like almost every day. It's like, how do you do that? How do you? That's just amazing that you can do that much content. And just more power to them. I'm more of a quality over quantity. Not to say anybody's bad. I'm just I do put a lot of work in my videos. So. Lee. All right, Lee, happy? So videos will be coming forthwith, or whatever you want to call it. Again, always appreciate your patronage. Feel free to leave me any comments on the videos. Also, I have a YouTube page. HobbyView YouTube. I also have an Instagram as well. So you can, poke. I try to post pictures of random things, random model related stuff on my Instagram. So this is HobbyFit on Instagram, and you can look up to Facebook. There's links too on all my videos. I try to put links in the description that tells you where to go from Instagram and Facebook, and on the RC Roundtable. You can hear me every couple of weeks. Me and my two buddies, Lee and Ray. Not Lee and Ray. Lee and Terry. We talk about model airplane stuff, hobby news. We have special guests on sometimes. So check us out. If you like podcasts, I think we do a really good podcast every 2 weeks. Go to rcroundtable.com. With that, thanks everybody for joining in on this Sunday morning. I am going to go find some lunch and then work on the Shock Cub. Why is there a dog on the tail?